In this lesson, we are going to talk about circles on the coordinate plane. This will actually be lesson 1 and 2, so we're going to talk about writing equation given the center and a radius, and we're also going to talk about sketching graphs. So the first thing that we want to talk about is an equation of a circle. Okay, the equation of the circle is actually comes from the distance formula. So remember, when you're given a line on a coordinate plane, you can find the distance between point 1 and point 2 using the distance formula. So, and remember, the distance formula is x2, the square root of x2 minus x1 squared, and then y1 minus y2 squared, and that gives you the distance. So what we did is we actually took this formula and we moved it around a little bit, and then we've come up with this formula for the equation of the circle, okay, where h and k are the center of the circle, okay? So here is h and k, and then x and y is going to be a point on the circle. All right, so you're going to plug in your x and your y here, and then your h and your k right there, and then the radius, right, is going to be the length of this line right here. And then this is going to tell us the equation of the circle. So, for example here, we want to identify the center and the radius of a circle given the equation. All right, so here it's important to know that our base equation, right, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. All right, now if you notice here, it's minus, right? We have x minus h, okay? So if we look right here, we have x plus 2 squared. All right, what that means is in order to make this positive, what would I have to plug in here? Well, I would have to plug in a negative 2, right? The equation would actually have to look like this, x minus a negative 2 squared. Okay, here it stays minus, right? So for that one, I just have to plug in the 7, right? To get minus, it would just be a positive 7 squared equals 64. Okay, and so on here then, the actual center of the circle then is going to be negative 2, positive 7. Okay, so that's really something important. When you're given the equation of a circle, the center, the signs are going to be opposite of what they are inside the equation. So if it's a positive 2, it's going to be a negative 2. If it's a negative 7, it's going to be a positive 7. So this is going to be the center of the circle. And then here, the radius, now it tells us 64, right? But the equation is r squared. All right, so r squared actually is what equals 64. So in order to find r, we have to find the square root, and r then is going to equal 8. So the radius is actually going to be 8 for this circle. Here we're given a circle on a graph, and we want to know what is the equation of a circle whose center is 3, 5, and whose radius is 2. So here's what it looks like on the graph, but we're actually given the points already and the radius. So remember, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. All right, where h and k are the points right here. H goes with the x, k goes with the y. So now here, remember, we have a positive 3, right? Negative times a positive is just a negative. So this becomes x minus 3 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals 2 squared. Don't forget to square that too. So then our final formula would be x minus 3 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals 4. All right, so if we look down here at our answer choices, you notice one of the things that they do is give you a 2 as the answer in case you forgot to actually square the radius. So we know that that's not correct. And then here, your other 2 choices are if you put your points in correctly in. So here, remember, it's x minus 3. It's not positive, right? We're going to switch the sign. So actually, our answer is this one right here. Here we want to sketch the graph of the circle with this equation. All right, so the way we do this, when you're sketching a graph, you first want to start with the center, okay? Remember, when we're finding our center, our points are going to be opposite signs, right? So the center here is going to be positive 2 positive 5. So we're going to plot that point right there, 2, 5. Now, if we look here, we have a 9, okay? Now remember, our formula, this is r squared, okay? Our radius is squared right here. So we want to find the square root. So our radius is actually 3. What that means is that all of our points are going to be 3 away from the center of the circle. So the best thing to do is, don't get all fancy. Just go to the right, down, and then to the left and up, and then draw your circle. So here we have this point, right? We went over 1, 2, 3, and then we went down 1, 2, 3, to the left 1, 2, 3, and then up 1, 2, 3. All right, and then after that, just draw your circle around to make your points, and then that's the circle of your point. And then this is, all of these have a radius of 3, right? No matter where I draw my line, now I have a radius of 3. Here it says find, and it means write, an equation of the circle centered at the origin. Okay, now centered at the origin, right? Remember, the origin is 0, 0, and it has the given radius, okay? So now, if our center is at 0, okay, we're going to plug in 0 to our formula. So we would have x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared. And it's going to equal r squared, okay? If our radius is 2, we're going to take 2 squared, and that's going to be 4. Now here, right, here we don't have to leave this equation like this, right? We know anything minus 0 is going to be whatever that number is at the beginning, right? So x minus 0 is just going to equal x. So we can actually write x squared plus y squared equals 4. So this is something really important. If you have an equation centered at the origin, it's going to, whatever the radius is, it's just going to be x squared plus y squared equals whatever the radius is squared. So here, 10 squared is 100. So if this one is centered at the origin, it's just x squared plus y squared equals 100. On this one, it says, what is the radius of the circle x squared plus y squared equals 9, okay? Now, don't get fooled here, because what they want you to put, right, what they're thinking that you'll put is 9, because 9 is is r squared, right? But it's not 9, because remember, it's r squared, which means that you have to take the square root. So your answer would be 3 right there. Here it says, find an equation of the circle with the given center and radius. All right, so here, okay, remember our signs have to be opposite if you have the center. So we have negative 6 and positive 4. So now we have x plus 6 squared plus y minus 4 squared. And then remember to square your radius. 6 times 6 is 36. For this next one, okay, it's going to be x minus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 16. For the third one, it's going to be x plus 1 squared plus, and here we have 0, right? So that's y minus 0. So we can actually just say y squared equals, and here we have 3.2. So we want to take 3.2 times 3.2, which is going to be 10.24. And those are all our equations of the circle. Here it says which equation of a circle is represented by the graph. So what we want to do first here is find the center, right? Here's our center point. Okay, the center is at 1, 1. Okay, 1, positive 1. And if we look here, our radius is 1, 2. So we're looking, remember, our signs have to be opposite, right? Because our formula is x minus h and y minus k. So this is going to be x minus 1 squared plus y minus 1 squared. So we know it's not that one, and the rest of these are correct. So now it's all about the radius here, right? Remember, you have to square it. 2 times 2 is 4, so that would be our answer. And that is the end of lesson 1 and 2 of circles in the coordinate plane.